US, Donald Trump has claimed a new trade deal with Vietnam, slapping a hefty 20% tariff on Vietnamese imports and an even steeper 40% tariff on transshipped goods. In return, Trump says Vietnam will open its market completely to US exports at zero tariffs. The announcement comes just days before a tariff deadline that could see US duties surge on imports globally. My colleague Sumita Karir is here with more on this.
Ahead of the July 9th deadline, the Donald Trump administration is rushing to stitch up last-minute deals with countries including Vietnam, including India, the European Union, and of course Japan. And of course, a significant development coming in is so far as these trade negotiations and conversations are concerned, because with Vietnam, the Donald Trump administration has signed a last-minute deal. According to that, now US will be charging 20% as part of all Vietnamese imports coming into the United States. Earlier, that number was at 46%. That was quite big. And of course, as part of the transshipment section, the United States will be charging 40% on Vietnamese imports or imports that come via Vietnam. Remember, China has been a big beneficiary when some companies, Vietnam has been a big beneficiary when some companies decided to move out manufacturing from China. So this move essentially could be seen in light of that development. And of course, we do understand that Donald Trump administration's senior counselor, Peter Navarro, said on Trade and Manufacturing that a third of all Vietnamese exports to the United States were actually Chinese products shipped through Vietnam. So this is essentially hinted at some of those Chinese products as well. Meanwhile, with the EU, there is still negotiations that are still going on with Japan. The Donald Trump administration is not very happy because Japan has been pushing against Donald Trump's asking for access to its agri sector, for its auto sector. Other than that, with the negotiations, as far as India is concerned, we're given to understand from sources that the deal could be signed, an interim trade deal could be signed over the next 2-3 days with India. Remember, challenges have been emerging as far as the agri-dairy sectors, as far as GM crops, all of these segments are concerned, because India is protectionist. Sources also suggest that India has not opened up these sectors for any other country earlier in any of the deals that we have done with other countries. So this is going to be crucial, given the fact that the UK deal with the United States is not very consequential. It's not very significant. With China also, they've had differences, but they're looking at a big one, at a significant deal with India.
Sumita, while we have you here, we are also getting news that US Defense Secretary held a bilateral call with India's Defense Minister, Rajnath Singh. Can you take us through what was discussed on this call?
That's right. Union Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and his American counterpart, the US Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, have agreed to firm up a 10-year framework. This is essentially to further expand the defense and strategic ties between India and the United States. Remember, this is coming in just a day after the External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, and Pete Hegseth met, and they, of course, expressed the hope to sign this new 10-year framework for India and the United States defense partnership. And, of course, the United States then also expressed that they're very pleased with the successful integration of many US defense items into India's inventory. And it did share the hope to expand, both sides shared the hope to expand industrial cooperation, co-production efforts, and strengthen interoperability between United States and India. But let's now focus back to the communication that transpired between Rajnath Singh and Hegseth. Well, the communication stated that the two sides have discussed pending major US defense sales to India and the imperative of close defense industrial cooperation between the two countries. In fact, Mr. Singh urged Mr. Hegseth to expedite the delivery of some engines like the GE F404 engine to power the Tejas light combat aircraft. In fact, Mr. Singh also pitched for an early finalization of the proposed deal between HAL and US defense major GE Aerospace so that joint production of engines could be taken up. Remember, this is pretty much in line with what the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump had outlined for the partnership that is to be there for the United States and India.
Thank you so much, Sumita, for getting us details on both those fronts.